I'm Andrew Clark. I'm born in Gosford. I grew up on the Central Coast. My home growing up was Somersby. Now I live in Terrigal with my family and it's my home. I grew up in Somersby on a property that was 130 acres and basically grew up too far away from my close friends. You know, I've lived in Hong Kong and I lived in Malaysia and in China, and it's just stimulation overload in those places with people and rubbish and, you know, everything that goes on. I'm lucky enough to live within walking distance of the beach. I've got a couple of close friends that live, you know, just a couple of 100 metres from my house. We surf and run on the beach most mornings, and outside of that, everything's spent with my family, with my wife and my two beautiful girls, and my mum and dad and my sisters, and yeah. For a living, I work for the Central Coast Mariners as a sports scientist. I look after the strength and conditioning of the players and manage the medical team at the club. My role within the coaching team is to make sure the players are fit and ready to play. I stopped playing nearly 2 years ago now, and I think at that stage I still watched the game for the enjoyment. But I think now that I'm full-time in a coaching role, a lot more I'll sit down and analyse a game, and so that enjoyment factor is completely different now. You're always looking from an angle of what are other people doing, or you know, how you know, physically good is another player. So yeah, definitely I'm looking at a game with a completely different angle than what I was 5 or 10 years ago. I think as a sports scientist, you're constantly looking at the cutting edge of human performance, and at the top level, the margins are very small between, you know, somebody who is competitive and somebody who is actually ahead of the pack, and that's in any sport that you work in. For me, I know football very well, so you know, to take a scientific edge to that, hopefully gives the Mariners a bit of an edge over the rest of the competition on a pretty limited budget compared to other clubs. So basically we're taking every player, we're looking at their physiology, we're testing it, we're training it, we're pushing them as close as we can to that line without breaking them. And becoming a father has completely changed my life. You give everything to your children just to make sure that they have the opportunities that you've had. They've taught me how to be a lot more generous, how to you know, to give unconditionally to your family, and then that transfers into your life. Like, you find yourself you know, being more generous within your life with everybody that you come across. And I think that's a lesson that's learnt from having a family. They've just taught me how to love, I think. Like, just, you know, I've got a house full of girls, so it's just, you know, it's cuddles all day and all night. It's beautiful. I remember towards the end of my playing, when all of a sudden I had a daughter at games. It was an amazing thing, like, you know, to look up into the stand and see your wife and your daughter. And you always see that when you're playing. You see guys, you know, who play on a field, you know, in front of a lot of people, and they always go to try to pick out their family. You know, there's been moments in the stadium in Gosford where, you know, there's been close to 20,000 people in the stadium. And I can remember moments before and after games where, you know, we've been standing in the tunnel and you're just about to come out and you think, oh, this is the Central Coast. And then at the end of the game, when we've got a result, and part of that result is through the energy of the crowd, you know, you really appreciate, like, the support of the whole region, and for everybody to be just pulling together for the one cause. It's, you know, it's a great thing. If I could inspire my community to do one thing, it would be to become more local. So to engage in, you know, the people that provide the services in this area, to, you know, engage with each other, to keep the place what we have now for the future.